Good morning, obeisances, Maharaj.
Good morning, obeisances, indeed, and welcome back to Leela Moy Prabhu, Gauranath Rashu, Leela Shakti Devi Dasi, and welcome to Praneshwari, who's actually welcoming us, because she's the host of the evening, the morning, the night, as it were. But why I say welcome back, because just a short while ago, we were with Leela Moy, Gauranath Rashu, and Leela Shakti Devi Dasi in the Brazil Zoom, which seems like a blink of an eye ago, because I basically only closed my eyes and then opened my eyes and had a shower and did my morning duties, and then came to you this morning. So, blink of an eye ago, we were with you. And welcome to Priyanana Devi Dasi with flowers and no question marks. Sometimes she sends question marks, which I don't know what the symbol is, but this time flowers and pranam. Hare Krishna. So it's exactly 5 o'clock. Oh, 5:01 over here where I am, and which is Latvia. As you all know, you can hear okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, I saw Leela Moy doing something, maybe setting the headphones. Praneshwari Devi Dasi, blessings to you and assembled devotees. I don't know who you is.
Blessings to Priyanana.
Oh, okay. Blessings to Priyanana. We didn't get any blessings. Just see.
And to the assembled devotee.
Oh, well, that's the problem, isn't it? You see, okay, instead of using we, I should have said I didn't get. Okay, and here's a good soul coming to be, he's already prepared since yesterday, something to say for us today. So I'll first introduce, and some of you know, Suresh Krishna Prabhu. Something I clicked unintentionally. Okay, just mind the wires and maybe can you pull back the electricity for the computer? Okay.
And where is here?
Yeah, it's okay. Just leave it all there. Just be careful. Okay, so here's Suresh Krishna. So he's come to join me live. He's a human being with me. So, you are all human beings, but this one I can touch. And we've become very big on the screen. Oh my goodness. Better try and get this away. But it's not letting me. Oh yes, it is gallery.
You can click on gallery.
Okay, dear devotees. Okay, let's save a Rupadiri, enter, and then we'll begin with our mini formalities at the beginning, but still formalities. And some of you may have heard Srila Gurudev saying that when they were young, then they would write on letters. We also wrote on letters. We also wrote letters. They'd write on letters at the top, God is good. And then, dear so-and-so, like this, they would write to someone. And in the more recent time, means in the 80s, 90s, hundreds, as it were, then the tradition is that we write on the top of the letters, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So God is good, the specified version, if you like. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So beginning today with God is good and all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. We're very happy to be with each and every one of you with our morning obeisances, night obeisances, wherever you are receiving it, night obeisances, day obeisances, but our obeisances. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And we can also, because it's good for us, we say Vandeham, Om Jnana, and Namo Mahavaranyaya. These three verses. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitanscha Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Prarayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvijay Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the meantime, welcome indeed to Paramananda Prabhu, to Rupanuga Prabhu. Yes, your picture just moved on the screen. To Rupanuga Prabhu, to Udaran Prabhu, just nearby. A few kilometers away, but just nearby. To Seva Rupa Devirasi, just nearby, a few thousand kilometers away. To Dhananjaya Prabhu, to the east, and a few kilometers away. I'm not sure exactly where you are, but Priyanana, nearby, a few kilometers just to the north of where we are here, not very far, just driving a day's drive up to St. Petersburg, and Jayadev Prabhu, a few kilometers and over the Atlantic Ocean. So greeting you all. Others we've greeted already today. And yes, Jayadev Prabhu. So today we are in Zoom, we are together, and we have Suresh Krishnabhu, and I don't know what he's going to say, but he knows all about back to basics and has been in some of our back to basics. Not recently, perhaps. Recently?
No.
No. Okay, guilty conscience.
Many time ago. I suppose last time was in Italy when I wake up with your voice.
Oh, okay. Well, today he woke up with my voice. Well, maybe not with my voice, because here we're an hour later than Italy, a little earlier. Anyway, we've got Suresh Krishnabhu, but let us wait to hear from him, a little anticipation. Because first, let us hear also from Praneshwari Devirasi, because she really knows so much that's happening around the world. And something on the theme of back to basics from Praneshwari, because she's always our host, but she's always a little quiet about telling us some Krishna, like something that she's sharing with us from our masters. She always puts in the chat box something related, but please, a few words from you, Praneshwari, today. So we're putting you on the spot, maybe, but you have a reservoir to dip your cup in and deliver to us.
And our pranams, Maharaj, and to the devotees as well. What we have is a wonderful gift. We have Srila Gurudev blessing every moment, single moment in our life has just like the stamp of Srila Gurudev. And we cannot forget that. He is always giving us everything we have so that we learn how to offer it. Previously in Bhakti Yoga for All, we were commenting, and I thought that we have to thank Gurudev for the intelligence. We cannot be so proud, thinking, oh, I am intelligent and I'm using my intelligence in the service of the Lord, in the service of my Gurudev, in the service of the devotees. It's Gurudev himself, is he who is giving us everything, the intelligence, the logic, the organization, the tools, so that we learn to be trained in offering service. So the most important thing is seva. We have to look after it. We have to try to catch it on the air. Seva is coming, let me do it. Because that's what gives us energy. That's what gives us life. These days, because of the news, the Queen Elizabeth II, she passed away. But I was reflecting on how she was blessed because she was invited to Bhaktivedanta Manor in the UK, and she went and she had the darshan of the deities, and she received previously, many years ago, it was not just in one occasion. The devotees, especially ISKCON devotees, they were always trying to offer honor to someone who was so important, and they blessed her with this invitation. So she had the darshan of the deities, and there is a photo of a little girl putting a garland on her several years ago, and that was so sweet and beautiful. So these events since yesterday made me reflect on how we have to honor others. And others means not only our close friends, our close devotees, spiritual sisters and brothers, but everyone. We have to honor everyone because Krishna is in their hearts. I'm sorry, Maharaj, I spoke too much. Hare Krishna.
No, not spoke too much at all. And actually, it's a very beautiful reflection on the current topic, very topical reflection. And you can speak more.
No. We have so many beautiful devotees here, Maharaj. Let's hear from them.
All right. Well, first of all now, because Suresh was settled in, let us hear from Suresh Prabhu, because it is our opportunity to hear his thoughts on back to basics. And he knows ever since yesterday that we're going to ask him. So we're not putting him on the spot. We're asking him some prepared presentation. Prabhu.
Dandava, dear devotees. And yesterday Maharaj asked me to tell something in this program, back to basics, and I don't sleep all night. So
No.
no, I sleep well. It's all good. It's just joking. I'm joking.
Okay. The Vaishnavas.
We have very nice, very fortunate two days with Maharaj, because first day we spent in Rezekne, in a small city, and did the public program, and yesterday we did in Riga center public program. So this today is very happy for us because we have opportunity to be with Madhusudan Maharaj, to see how he, and in this public program, to see how he feel public, and how he tried to wake up the public, shake and wake all the public, because public is the audience in both programs was good audience, but and we see that they want to receive some knowledge, the sincere soul, and that's why they came. So and Madhusudan Maharaj with jokes, with good experience, with good examples, trying to shake them and wake. But sometimes they are unshakable. It is so. But everything very fine, and people asked questions, and I think maybe wants to proceed this path. So what wanted to say more, these 2 days we spent a lot of time with devotees too, and more and more I understand. I remember as Guru Maharaj told, because as Goswami Maharaj was telling, that Guru Maharaj in the beginning was going to the Krishna, and was thinking that the Krishna is the main, And after many, many years, he understood that main is devotees. And this is the main what we have, because as I met yesterday Lakshmi Rani Didi, she is from Mauritius. And we remember that Gurudev said that the paradise in this earth is Mauritius. If you wanted to see paradise in this earth, in this planet Earth, go to Mauritius. And yesterday I told her, what are you doing here? Because Mauritius is a paradise, but here is a hell. You're in the middle of the West hell, Riga, because Riga small town. But no, then I think no, it's not correct. Where is the devotees? There is a paradise, and the man be with devotees. And this is wherever we are, Mauritius, Riga, Rezekne, and I don't know, wherever in the world. We are together with devotees, and there is a paradise. We can chant together on our prasadam, speak. This is main what we have, and I'm very, very glad Krishna arranged my life so that I can be with Maharaj when Maharaj visited Riga, and Maharaj visited us in Rezekne, small town, and for us it's very happy event that in our small town came so big person. And I spent and continue to be with Maharaj in these days, and for me it's very happy days. So what can I say more? This is my thoughts and my heart expression for today. Jai Shri Bhaktivinoda Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare. And when Suresh Krishna was saying about paradise, he said the word paradise. I was looking on the Facebook to see who's there. And actually, I read with my faulty vision, paradise, but it's Patricia Morales, which is Seva Rupa Devidasi in Mexico, but it's the very same word that he said paradise. I saw this. I read paradise. I thought, oh, who's this? Who's signing in? Hare Krishna. So, yes, to Seva Rupa Devidasi in South Africa, to Madhava, Michael Madhava, and to Raj Bhuvan, yes, who regularly with us, Raj Bhuvan Yadav with us, and Anukul Chandrapur just joined us also, I think, because I don't really get an accurate view for some reason on Facebook. I still don't understand Facebook after all these years. So to each of you on Facebook also, I just want to say welcome, that you are there and you're safe and sound, because we can't ask you any questions on Facebook. So everything is good. But we are here on Zoom where we can ask devotees questions. And we know that Priyanana Devidasi, okay, Priyanana, we're going to ask you just now. So now you've got a few moments either to be very busy so you can't answer, or to prepare your answer. And but we'll also ask to Seva Rupa and who else today? Udaharan Prabhu today. We can ask also both of you, each of you. So little preparation, and we may ask others, so be prepared as they want. But really, we like to have contributions in back to basics, and the theme too of like sadhu sangha, being with devotees. Wherever we are with devotees is fine. It is not connected with where we are physically in the world. And really, we've seen it. We've been, for instance, in Sao Paulo, which is, I mean, for all the Sao Paulo residents, we give our great respect, but it's one crazy city. I mean, it's huge and so many things. But with the devotees, it's wonderful. Everything is perfect. And we've been in quiet places like Rezekne, which is a little bit of a sleepy town, it seems to be, but actually, I mean, very sweet place and so quiet. That there are quiet towns like this where you, again, hardly need to have traffic lights because it's so quiet. You know, wherever we are, but when we're with devotees, then that is really what makes everything. So let's hear from the devotees. And so I think we asked, yes, Priyanana Devidasi first. humbly asking you to share something on the back to basics theme. Kindly.
Dandavat Maharaj, all the devotees. I just saw that there are like 500 kilometers from St. Petersburg to the place where you are. So I'm just crying. Okay, then. Well, I just want to give some news from St. Petersburg. Yesterday, due to the instructions of Srila Vadut Maharaj, a new program was started, which is called Vedic School, and it's
Called what?
Vedic school.
Vedic School.
Vedic school. Okay.
Yeah, it has 2 levels, like beginners and those who are practicing already. And first level is like who is guru and so on. Second level is more advanced, so to say, like what's material life and like verses of Shankaracharya, what's this life? Gurudev's interpretation of his what's that Maha Mudgar Shloka, or like winter, spring comes and so on. Like, and it was very nice because on both levels people came, they were sitting and like writing in their block notes, asking questions, and yeah. So that project started, and next weekend there gonna be a weekend of these Vedic games. I mean, it's all over the Maharaj style, but it works. I mean, not but it works. And yes, for it's aimed on the different levels, different people, and everyone can find something for themselves here. So basically, that's the news. Very happy to see you so close to the Russian border, and sometimes Giriraj with the devotees, they travel here. Of course, and I cannot ask you of this, but still, at least like you're getting closer and closer. Maybe I can get closer someday. That's it. Jai Madhusud Maharaj and all his
Well,
associates.
actually, we'd love to come to St. Petersburg. And as you know, by your grace and Prithu Prabhu's grace and other devotees, we do get to like see around the temple and meet with the devotees there, but on Zoom and on Skype, etc. But I don't think at this moment in the world we're actually able to come to Russia. So that's the difficulty. And in this world at the moment, we still are not able to come to places that we used to be able to go to. So the world is a changing place. But again, you see that really we can be present by heart and present by this way, how Krishna, how Mahaprabhu has allowed all this technology. So anyway, yes, so close, but yet so far. Rupa Goswami also listed this in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as one of the separation, union in separation, as it were. So, yes, and by the way, I was very happy to see, because we were in Abkhazia yesterday, and I mean by Zoom-wise, we were there, and very happy to see that Prithu Prabhu is there. Actually, was it yesterday or the day before? The days roll into one. And anyway, very happy to see Prithu Prabhu of St. Petersburg in Abkhazia. And the devotees were also having a day in the mountains with Rishikesh Maharaj, Vijay Raman Prabhu, and your Pujari, Anandamoy Prabhu.
Yes, the Holy Trinity went to Abkhazia.
The Holy Trinity. Okay, there's it. There's a new aspect. The photo I have of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Guru Maharaj on the Vyasasan, and Srila Gurudev just seated beside them on an asan, no doubt. But that photo, when I go to search it in the in the computer or the phone that has Holy Trinity as its title, so I can find it easily. So now we have a Holy Trinity of St. Petersburg to just see. Wonderful. And Sevarupa Devidasi, let us ask you to open your microphone and early in the morning in South Africa to share something from today, this week, from the spiritual plane, but back to basics.
Dandavats. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, excuse my morning voice. So yesterday, how it all coincided is I met up with Mathura Vasini's daughter-in-law, and my mom joined us, and we attended the pulling of the chariots, the festival of the chariots, Radhiyatra, at the ISKCON, yes, in Indonesia. And I haven't done that in I don't know how many years. And honestly, I think, I just look at my mom as my mom, but she was really like almost like a celebrity. Everybody was, hello, Mataji, how are you? Haven't seen you for so long. And the one devotee was telling his family, it's because of this Mataji that she introduced me to Krishna, and, just seeing a different light of always thinking my mom. It was very humbling. And she got to see a lot of the devotees that she, I think, stayed at the temple and, had association. And we also got the darshan of the deities at the temple. I think it's Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga deities. We also got to really up close and personal with the deities. I think as they were bringing them in I think it was Jagannath and Lady Subhadra. Yes. And Mathura Vasini's daughter-in-law was interested, and she is following sometimes the back-to-back the basics, like on YouTube and that, like how I used to. And she was asking me, if she was interested in taking initiation, what should she do? And she doesn't know. So I think maybe, Maharaj, I should type a message to you and you can advise. But the only thing I remember that the advice I got from you, Maharaj, was maybe to read Sri Guru and His Grace. I'll send her that on PDF. And that's everything that's been happening with me, what I can remember from yesterday.
It seems like Rath Yatra, it seems to be a little bit like Rath Yatra season, because it seems very recently in London there was Rath Yatra, and still they're doing that very high profile route from Hyde Park all the way through to Trafalgar Square, and they set up some stalls and things in Trafalgar Square. Very high profile in the very center of London, in some of the most famous areas of London. So I'm very pleased to see that is continuing. And our devotees also, they went to, maybe the week before, they went to Dublin for Rath Yatra in Ireland. So they joined together there. And where were we just now? And Rath Yatra was taking place. Oh, maybe that was Ireland when they went for the Dublin Rath Yatra. Okay. And now in South Africa, we hear of Rath Yatra. So Rath Yatra seems to be taking place in lots of places around the world at this time.
Yes.
So that is also very unifying, and our devotees can happily attend, as long as the people who are there will be happy to have you. But I think almost universally, everyone's happy at Rath Yatra time.
Absolutely.
It's one of those occasions, like we have mentioned about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance day. That those days, and you see Rath Yatra too, they're kind of universal for all of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Mahaprabhu, of Nitai and Gauranga. And so they're very unifying days for the devotees, and the Rath Yatra brings joy to everyone. And the more, they say, the more the merrier. Well, the more the merrier when it comes to chanting the holy name and engaging in Sankirtan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Many thanks, Sevarupa Devidasi. And we have Udaran Prabhu hiding behind his name and revealing himself. We say his name and he appeared. And actually, when we went to the railway station the other day, we went to the railway station and we were meant to be meeting Udaran Prabhu there. I went with Sajjanananda. We were going by train to this small town called Rezekni. And then, no Udaran Prabhu. And then we called out his name and then turned around and Udaran Prabhu appeared. So just reminded us about how the Lord and his name are non-different. Anyway, Udaran Prabhu.
Tantavat, all the devotees. I am always, don't know what to say, but what is coming to my mind now is that importance of gathering together to be with the Vaishnavas, and especially with that days when Vaishnavas came to us, as Madhusudana Maharaj came to Latvia, and that shows that with Vaishnavas together, it's really naturally to practice Krishna consciousness. By ourselves, it's almost impossible. And I am hoping and I am praying to be more and more with the Vaishnavas, and because this is our life, this is our goal, and by ourselves we are weak, and by the grace of them, everything is possible. So thank you that you arrived to us, to Latvia, and thank you all that you are with us. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. And from my side, I can say the same thing, that to be with devotees, it is so important. And before traveling this time, we've got used to Zoom. We've got used to being in one place, by circumstance, because we were locked down. And by the way, in Italy, for some time, they have green, orange, and red or something. There are 4 stages, I think. But where we were for some time, it was red plus. So it wasn't even just red. So we really locked down for some time. But we've got, we're very accustomed like this to be with devotees, but to be with the devotees, sitting and talking, it is a big sort of extra, and we don't want to minimize the Zoom or to have connection through the internet, etc. But when possible, then for devotees to come together. And Udaran Prabhu mentioned me going to the Rezekne and being with the devotees there. But if any of you had gone there, they would have all been enlivened as well. In other words, for devotees to come, and devotees also from different places. It's a natural thing to hear and inquire and share like life experience in devotional service with each other. And in South Africa, and then Sevarupa's mum, she's meeting people she's not met for a long time, and you see the natural joy in being with the Vaishnavas. Okay, now at this point, there's a specific question which I think that Paramananda Prabhu, we'd like to ask to Paramananda Prabhu, because it is a question that comes up again and again, and came up yesterday morning. And the question is, what is or maybe it was the day before, losing track of time, I must admit. Okay, anyway, the question is this: what is the definitive answer, definitive answer of the difference between emotion and devotion? Okay, Paramananda, over to you. And this came up in the Association of Devotees, of course.
What did you answer, Maharaj?
I answered as you would expect I would answer, but I
How
want to
can
hear.
how can a person who doesn't possess devotion can give a definitive answer to that question?
Ho, ho, ho. Okay. You can't answer a question with a question.
But you caught me by surprise. But I always thinking on a daily basis, I'm thinking, is this a devotion or an emotion? Srila Govinda Maharaj answered once how to see the difference between seva and pious activity. And seva automatically means devotion. We're talking about devotional seva. If there is no devotion, it's not called seva in our world, at least. So Govinda Maharaj pointed that out. So he said that if one does an activity that is pleasing Vaishnavas, pleasing his spiritual master, or on his orders he is doing something with full heart, sincerity, and dedication, the result of that will be devotion. And that is called seva, devotional seva. And at the end, the final result will be bhakti, prema. But if one is not following instructions or directions of his spiritual master or the Vaishnavas, and doing some activities that he thinks that, oh, it's good, I think this is good, I think that is good, but really it is not blessed or approved or not pleasing to the Vaishnavas and to the Guru, then it may not be in a proper mood. And sometimes we can also say a person is doing it for self-promoting, to get some pratishta, and result, some Gurudev pointed out, there will be some good karma may come from that, but it will not result in devotion at the end, and as such will not result in bhakti. So I would say, if we feel any emotion and we want to check before we express those emotions or think the emotions are authentic and real, we should refer to our masters, to our spiritual guardians, and see how they express their feelings, and is that in line with that or not. And in fact, we just read this morning, we just read 10 advices of Srila Saraswati Thakur, and one of them was that we do not trust in our own strength. We always defer to Sri Rupa, meaning the whole Rupanuga Guru Varga. We always defer to them, and that's what Praneshwari mentioned in the beginning, when she was saying, that everything we have, everything that comes to us is coming by their grace. We're receivers of their grace, we're receivers of their blessings, and such we have the talents to do something, and good fortune to be engaged in seva. So, I don't know, I can say many things about it, but really, it's always it's a very, very short time. And it's a broad question. And really, it will be a practice of each individual devotee to find out. But basically, I think more or less we can say definitive answer will be the following the footsteps of the acharyas and how they behave, what was their nature, what would satisfy them, what kind of subject they liked. Like I was looking at Praneshwari's background, and I think that's Queen Elizabeth, very recognizable color. She's looking at the deities probably in a manner, and then the lower one is she's garlanded by a devotee, a child devotee. And I'm thinking,
Oh, okay. Oh my
We-
goodness.
it is. I mean, Elizabeth is very recognizable, really, and she's been a reigning monarch, probably the longest reigning monarch in the recent history, overtaking Tai King. He was the number one before her, before he passed away, but now she passed away. And we're always thinking, oh, the kings and queens, they're all great and they're all wonderful and important personalities, but it kind of automatically made me think about the devotee kings, and not a Puranic history. We hear so many kings were devotees in the past, in the Puranas and different kalpas and different creations of this world from Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures. But even recent kings, relatively recent kings, take Maharaja Kula Shekhar, and how much affection Srila Guru Maharaj had for his works, or Jamuna Acharya, who was a king. And I was just flipping through Sri Prapana Jivanamritam, flipping maybe a little bit too offensive to say, what will be the proper word, Maharaj? Seeking some nourishment from Prapana Jivanamritam, let's put it that way. And then I came upon the verses by Srila Kula Shekhar, and really it's just one after another, one after another, one after another. And he was a great king. I mean, real, as king as you can be. And this is his expression of feelings, but devotional feeling. I think that will be good to complement what we're talking about, if you don't mind. Do I have your permission?
Yes, I see my microphone's off. Yes. Om, we can say.
So it is from Prapana Jivanamritam, collected gems by Srila Guru Maharaj. And the verse is, the Sanskrit is, Nashtadharme navasumi chay naiva kamabhav yadyad bhavam bhavatu bhagavan purvakarma narupam etat pratyam mamabahu matam janma janmantareti tvat padam baruha yugagata nishchala bhaktir astu. O Lord, I have no faith and religiosity, economic development, or sense enjoyment. May all these things come to pass as they are ordained according to my previous karma. But my earnest prayer is that birth after birth, I may have unflinching devotion to your lotus feet. And that's Maharaja Kula Shekhar, one of the great acharyas. Another one, O Madhava, let me not see the unvirtuous persons who are devoid of devotion to your lotus feet. And let me not hear the narratives which do not describe your divine personality. O Lord of the universe, may I never have any contact with those bereft of faith in you. And moreover, life after lifetime, may I never be without the company of your associates who are devoted to your loving service. That's Maharaja Kula Shekhar again. So many we have in our line. And in one of his verses, he concludes that Britya Britya Paricharaka Britya Britya Brityasya Britya Itimam Smara Lokanata. How I want to be remembered by you, my Lord, as a servant of the 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 devotee. And that's a king's expression who has everything: power, money, wealth, fame. He has no interest in that. Then another example, Maharaja Birgambir, fully becoming a devoted Vaishnava. Not just that, that is actually a good example. Maybe Maharaja Kula Shekhar did the same, but Birgambir took an extra step. As a king, he ordered everyone to become a Vaishnava. And those who didn't want to become Vaishnava, well, usually you kind of lose the head, normally in those times. But since he's already a Vaishnava, and Vaishnavas are Suhridam Sarvadehinam, they're feeling compassion and kindness to all the living beings, he said, okay, you can leave, just leave. Or be a Vaishnava, and not just that, chant the name of the Lord. No chanting, no staying in my kingdom. That is a very good example of a king. And who was he before? Well, cheating. Well, he was somehow, we can say, a devotee of Krishna, but what concept was in his mind, we do not know. But after meeting with Srinivasacharya, it all changed, and he became a Gaudiya Vaishnava, chanting, taking Mahaprabhu's advice to chant the holy names and converting everyone in his kingdom. And that lasted for several generations of kings. That's another good example of the king. Narottam Das Thakur. He was if he stayed at his home, he would become a king. And so on and so on and so on. So really, this is a good examples. And we hear that poet, Srila Guru Maharaj likes to quote him, the paths of glory lead but to the grave. Do we want to be known? And no doubt, I mean, present people, they're trying to do their best for the sake of the society, but at the end, it's just It ends in the grave. And in the grave, everyone is equal. A king, a queen, a normal citizen, a worker from the factory. It kind of equalizes. It's the greatest equalizer, actually. But again, remembering Kulashekar Maharaj, the devotee king expression, how I want to be remembered, and remembered by whom? He is not saying, but remembered by the people, by the masses. Remembered by you, my Lord. I want you to remember me as your as a servant of your servant of the servant. Really, such a beautiful expression. This is a little bit on that monarchy subject, since Praneshwari Didi put it up on the screen in public. Maharaj.
Jai. Hare Krishna. We come to devotional service to hear topics of devotion. And here we are, engaged in this kind of activity and practicing to engage. Hare Krishna. And
Dear Maharaj, in the chat, Narottam Prabhu is asking a question for you.
oh, is he indeed?
Narottam Nitai.
Oh, long question. Or maybe not so long. Let's see. Maharaj, one question I have. Oh, by the way, in the chat, just before, so also Narottam Nitai pointing out Queen Elizabeth left her body on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day. Hari and Praneshwari Hari, on such an auspicious day indeed. Yes. And now Narottam Nitai Prabhu asking, Maharaj, one question I have. How can we as devotees stay focused on our sadhana and service and not get too caught up and bogged down with the difficulties that happen in the world? The three types of sufferings. Can you shed some reflection on this, as it bothers me at times? The geopolitical changes and religious affiliations that are attached to it. Oh my goodness. Well, you're asking me this. But Narottam Nitai, I told Paramananda we can't answer a question with a question. Okay, but here I am. I'm about to say, well, how do you know about all the, what is this? Geopolitical changes and religious affiliations that are attached to it. Really, we don't have any interest in anything of the worldly changes that are going on. And so we try to keep our focus on what is Krishna conscious. And actually, we only know about the Queen passing away because others told us, and it kind of comes in the headlines, and they assumed I knew, which we didn't know, that she'd passed away. And so about the world, everyone's looking at the news, everyone's getting their head involved in possible conflicts, fear of the future, this, that, and the other. This is going on since time immemorial. But what we want to do is to not be involved in the material things. As we just heard, the material things will go on as they are ordained by our individual karma, collective karma, by just the nature of the world. They're going to go on. So not to be involved in all these things. What will come, what will not come, that's not of our concern about the mundane world. But what we want to do is to put our head into the positive plane, and really even a slight touch of the higher taste, as Srila Prabhupada liked to express. With a higher taste, then the lower things, they disappear. And the relevance, the necessity to every hour, every half hour, every morning, every evening, however often it is, to be putting our consciousness into matters which are designed, if you like, to disturb our mind and to be sensational, to make headlines, to draw our attention. All of these things that has no lasting value, and not only has no lasting value, let's come back to Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamritam. Then We don't want to associate, we don't want to hear topics of the mundane world. So your question was how to, oh, something else has come into the chat, but your question was, how can we as devotees stay so focused on our sadhana? Yes, be nourished by the devotional nourishment, the devotional news, and keep association with devotees. Another extremely good tip, Paramananda pointed out, following in the footsteps of the greater chargers, following their example, following their guidance. And we have that guidance, we have those greater chargers. And just see what Srila Prabhupada has presented, see what Srila Guru Maharaj has presented, see what Srila Gurudev has presented. And by engaging in the higher things and keeping ourselves consciously clear from the lower things, not going chewing all of this stuff which is being almost forced into our ears, the negative things of the world. Just increase your sadhana, if you like, if you're hearing the negative things, by hearing anything about geopolitical or whatever else it may be going on in the world, just to know it's Kali Yuga. So we've got this wonderful opportunity of the holy name. And we know if we put our finger in the fire, we'll get burnt. So don't put our finger in the fire of the material non-harikata, the Gramya Kata of the world. We shouldn't hear mundane topics. We should not speak mundane topics. And this, along with so many tips headed by humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, etc. These are all lifetime things to practice. But we can take the big steps, the big steps of just avoiding going there, control our mind a little bit from clicking on the news headlines or anything else, and turn off all these automatic things that show up the news. You can turn them off. Don't have to be forced down your throat, forced down our ears. And Praneshri's responded probably, responded with Bhagavad Gita quote. And Bhagavad Gita is really a wonderful book too. Along with every book is a wonderful book, but for harmonizing the environment. So here, chapter 2, verses 55 to 58. Dukeshvanudvigna manaha. Quote, he is not disturbed by all these three kinds of miseries. Miseries pertaining to the body and the mind. Miseries due to other living entities. And miseries due to the natural disturbances. And this, so is this then part of the purport? No, it's continuing the translation. In this material world, there are three kinds of suffering: adhyatmic, adhibhotic, and adhidevic. Forces of nature. So many types of suffering are imposed by nature. Thus, there are three types of miseries within the material world, and everyone is suffering from one, two, or three of them, because we are here. So, best thing, if we are suffering in the jail, is to get out of the jail. The thing is, we can't just break out. We're in a jail where we can only get out by the grace of the jail keeper. So we are unhealthy, so we are not able to be living in a healthy environment. So let us try sincerely to make ourselves healthy and not to be involved in the three modes of nature, the three kinds of suffering, the all unlimited trials and tribulations which the world can throw at us. Instead, let us focus on the higher taste, and with the higher taste, the lower things will be distasteful, and we don't want to go there. And still, with trying to consciously not even see any headlines, still we get disturbed by some, things which trickle through, and we just think that's horrific, and we find ourselves, trying to filter that out from rotating in our consciousness, coming up again and again in our consciousness. So when that's only one or two bits of the news that filter through, that somehow devotees are talking about, and we overhear something. But what to speak of going through the garbage of page after page of that in the newspapers and on the web. So try to consciously keep from putting your head in the garbage of, each of us putting our head in the garbage. And still some dirt is going to come to our head, to us, and we need to try to just keep that out with the filter of Krishna consciousness. And when we see things are wrong, remind ourselves we are in Kali Yuga. So it must happen, but the great gift of Kali Yuga is we have the holy name. So take more and more shelter of the holy name. And Parikshit Maharaj knew he had 7 days to live. He focused on what he was to do and fully made his life successful in a very short time. And not even 7 days was required. Shukadev Goswami told him, we hear this by the grace of our gurus, by the grace of Guru Maharaj. And we heard this, telling to Shukadev Goswami, telling Maharaj Parikshit, again a king, a great king. He said, 7 days, you think it's a short time, but it is well long enough. We just have to change that within ourselves, change our consciousness, change our view, be Krishna conscious. Chant, only get absorbed in chanting the Lord's glories, the Lord's holy name. And then continue from there. We continue from there in our reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is so sweet. We don't want to read anything else. If instead of that time we're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, we're reading the news and everything, think, oh, what a negative, like we're stepping down, going down in the sand dune. We're trying to get to the top of the sand dune. Maybe one step up and then slipping back in the sand a little bit, but we want to go up and not consciously go down. So here, Paramananda Prabhu, so Pranashri Paramananda Prabhu adds, Srimad Bhagavatam, Shri Praladuvacha Matir Na Krishne Parattaha. Okay, I'll save you my reading of the Sanskrit. So Prahlad Maharaj replied, said, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclination toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. But for the devotees, their inclination toward Krishna is aroused. So once we're on the path and we're fortunate, so we're in the fortunate section who've got some interest somehow or another, by the instructions of others or by our own effort or by a combination of both, we are very fortunate to be in that section which some attraction for Krishna conscious, the process, the destination, the reality of that necessity, it's come to us. And so really now the question is, how do we keep our head out of the dirt and heading in the right direction? So our ideal, we must remember why we came to Krishna consciousness and keep that ideal on our head. And I can recommend as well, please read again. In fact, read every morning. read every morning for 2 weeks, Upadeshamrita. It's only 11 verses. We are reading Upadeshamritam here. Here's a witness sitting right beside me. Are we reading Upadeshamritam here or not? Yes. Okay, here's a witness.
And discuss.
And discuss something, yes. A natural discussion because it's so alive. So actually, this would be really my advice. So much comes back to ourselves controlling our what we allow, like a filter of what we allow ourselves to do and not to do. And we're getting good advice. When we get good advice, we need to make that not only the external practice, but from inside. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Prabhu, I see also another question from Narottam Nitai. I cannot say what is expansion or not expansion. I don't know all of those things. But we do know that Haridas Thakur, then he exemplified that mood of full self-surrender, full reliance on the Lord as the guardian. He is pure devotee, all these things. But there's an expansion of Prahlad Maharaj, I cannot say, an expansion of Lord Brahma. Things are simultaneously possible, and yes, we understand that Lord Brahma, because of his offense with the cows, when he took the cows, and what was his offense? He put them in a cave. He didn't do anything very, very gross with them. And by Lord Brahma, he created everything in the world. So we can't even think about how the cows and cowherd boys stayed in the cave for a year. But he can automatically give them nice grass and do whatever he does when he put them in the cave. But still, by that, we understood that, yes, you now will have to take birth in a cow exploiting family, as it were. Though, by the way, sometimes Guru Maharaj points out that some say he actually was born in a Muslim family, but he grew up, was raised. So he's born in a Hindu family, a Brahminical family, but he was brought up and raised by meat eaters, cow killers. But as the expansions and everything, when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, then we can understand that there's a whole science known to, such as Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, such as Rupa Goswami, such as Guru Maharaj, Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada. But I cannot mention about expansions. That I think may not be correct with expansion.
Is Maharaj disappeared
Yes,
or just? Oh, okay.
It's frozen. It's frozen.
That was myself.
Yes, now you're back. You were frozen in time.
Who?
You.
Well, yesterday I saw the first frost, the first ice frost of the autumn of 2022 as we were walking. I expect Priyanana in St. Petersburg is already seeing frost and ice and other things. Anyway, so maybe that's why we're frozen. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, the essence of everything we must take, and let us try to take the essence of devotional service. And yes, we've covered a little bit various topics, but appreciation for everyone, appreciation for especially those with much prestige and power, capacity also, piety, so many things. Anywhere where we see anything wonderful, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, know that as a reminder of me, that I am behind everything. So yes, remembrance of the disappearance just now, the passing away of the Queen of England after a very long reign in the world. and remembrance of so many kings and queens who passed away, but made some contribution in the world in their way. And her fame may well last. And in this context of having appreciation for the Krishna consciousness and what was being done by Srila Prabhupada, what's being done by the preaching of the message of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then we've heard so much about the appreciation of being able to be with devotees, chant Hare Krishna together, share things together. And at the end here, we can say that my, again, little recommendation is see if everybody here, if you can read also Upadeshamritam all this week. And the last 3 verses, don't think about them too much. They're those ones that we just understand that high plane is there. We keep that on our hand. The first 8 verses are all instructions, direct instructions. This way, by being very familiar with those verses and putting them into practice, they come up in our daily life all the time. That, oh, am I doing this? Oh, yes, correct myself according to the view of Rupa Goswami's instruction, Upadeshamrita. This will help us greatly in our spiritual journey. And this was so much, Upadeshamrita, so much stressed by all of our guardians. Jai back to basics, and jai to all of you, to Kamala Sundari Devi Rasi who just joined us, also our obeisances to you. You may have your clock set a little wrong because we're just finishing, not just beginning. But here we are, we're very happily with the devotees. Back to basics, we must always keep our basis, our foundation firm. And so let us try to keep that happily firm and happily continue, knowing we're not alone in this world. Here is evidence from far west as far east, north to far south, devotees are with us. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Gurudev, Om Vishnu Pashila, Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj from Vishnu Pashila, Bhakti Rock Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, founder, charger of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati ki Jai. And Jai Srila Prabhupada, Om Vishnu Pad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. And Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Bhagavad ki Jai. Shri Upadeshamritam ki Jai. Shri Shikshastakam ki Jai. Grantaram Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki Jai. Shri Shri Prabhupada Jivanamritam ki Jai. All the books, all the holy books of Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada, Srila Saraswati Thakur, all the Shastra ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanand. Hari Hari.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Pancha Kalpatrubhyas cha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And to all of you, our obeisances, respects, and encouragement, and praying for also your good wishes of encouragement to each other, to each of you. But I'm also putting up a hand. To me also, we always want the good wishes of the Vaishnavas, the Vaishnavata good wishes. Hare Krishna. Have a successful week in Seva. We'll see you soon, just in a few days' time. Yes, Gangali, those we haven't mentioned, Lynn, Radha Sundari, and anybody who came in without us giving. Oh, Bhagavan Prabhu also. Oh, Bhagavan Prabhu. Those who arrived without me giving specific mention, but really a specific mention to all of you, and to those who are watching us later in the recorded version. We appreciate your presence. We know you are there. Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for your blessings.
Hare Krishna. Not my
Hare
blessings,
Krishna.
my good wishes. If I had blessings, I would give Praneshri Devi. But
You are getting them from Guru Deva and Srila Guru
Hare
Maharaj. And you are so kind that you are giving them to us as well. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, let's just say you're sharing, Maharaj. That will be appropriate.
Yes.
Okay, I know one thing. It's time to go.
Hare
Confirmed
Krishna.
by the environment. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Jai Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad.